What's up, YouTube? Tim from Team Silverstone here, and I'm here with
Jared Zero.
What'd you do, Jared?
Well, I went to ARG Springfield. I went 5-3. I actually am. I'm playing a deck that I threw together the night before. It's been working wonders. It's Wind Witch Spellbooks. I haven't really come up with a name for it.
That's awesome. Let's get in the deck profile.
Absolutely. So first to start, we have 3 Ice Bell. She's kind of the center of the deck. She essentially gets me everything else. Next, we have Glass Bell. So off of Ice Bell, you special summon Glass Bell, which then gets you Snow Bell. You play 3 of each, at least in my build. You get quick plays into any level 7 synchro you want, or in my personal favorite is I get a Crystal Wing on turn 1 that can't be destroyed by my opponent's card effects or anything else. Following those, we have the Speedroid engine. I play 3 Terratop and 2 Takatumborg, mainly because with Takatumborg, I can special summon him when I have any of my Wind Witches or anything else, so I like having 2 of them. I like seeing him. Pretty generic. Next, we got 3 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. This is kind of what makes the deck run, because in terms of all my spells, they're all spellbooks, so it gets me whatever I need. And then we have 1 Priestess for big boss monsters. Then for spells, we run 3 Spellbook of Secrets. Main Searcher gets me Blue Boy, gets me Spellbook of the Masters, gets me anything. And then we have Spellbook of the Masters, which lets me copy Secrets or Spellbook of Power, or pretty much any of my sets up for all my plays later on. Next, we have the Grand Spellbook Tower. I play 2 because it's very similar to a main Spellbook engine. You know, it lets me recycle all my cards, lets me get an extra draw at the beginning of the game, or beginning of the turn, you know. Then, 2 Spellbook of Fate. This card is one of the huge reasons why I wanted to play the deck. I have so many opportunities with it, like having, any of my Wind Witches on board lets me activate it. It gets around Crystal Wing, it gets around actually any card that's really threatening.
And it doesn't target.
It doesn't target, it interrupts everything. It's great. Next, 1 Spellbook of Power. Most Spellbook decks would run 2. I'm only running 1 just for the simple fact that I don't generally target a lot of stuff with it. If I do, it's much later on in the game. Then we have Spellbook of Wisdom. It protects all my Wind Witches. It protects Priestess, Blue Boy, some of the extra deck cards that I run. So, and then we have 1 Eternity. So Eternity is pretty much staple when you're playing Fate. With Spellbook of Fate, banish your cards, banish their cards, so you get back your banished Spellbooks. So that's it for the Spellbook stuff. And then we run 2 Twin Twister in the main. I like having Spellbooks in the grave. Sets up for Fate, sets up for Master. It's really good. Gets rid of your back row, which I like. Then 2 Dark Holes and a Regeki. Basic board wipes. I like that I have the freedom to run multiple board wipes in the main and not have people be like, why are you running Dark Hole? It's a bad card, because it's actually not this format. And then for traps, we have 2 Strike, for obvious reasons. 2 Drowning. Drowning was an interesting choice for me, mainly because a lot of the cards that I play, I don't get to have a lot of monsters on board, so chances of my opponent attacking directly is somewhat more feasible than not, so I like shuffling their monsters back in. And then we have 1 Vanities and 1 Solemn Warning. And that would wrap up the main deck. So on to the side, we're running some pretty generic stuff. We have 3 Ghost Ogre. It's pretty generic, stops, almost anything right now. I like it. 2 Maxi. 2 Effect Veiler. I'm siding 1 Jinzo just because I special summon everything, and the off chance that I play against a Paleozoic deck, I like to be able to get him out turn 1, assuming I see him, which is nice. Then for the side, for spells, we run 1 Twin Twister. Again, Paleozoic matchup, things that stop me from special summoning, I like to get rid of them. And Twin Twister is just all around a great card. Plus 2 Shared Ride. A lot of decks right now, in my opinion, I think search. So I like being able to add cards, the same thing as Maxi, just opposite, I guess. Then 2 Royal Decree and 2 Iron Wall. Iron Wall was probably my favorite card during the event. It helped me against my Mermail matchup, it helped me against Deities, it helped me against literally everything. So I think that was probably my favorite side deck card throughout the event. Why Mermail? Because a lot of the builds that I played or saw were playing Aqua Spirit.
Okay.
So it stopped Aqua Spirit, and I was like, this is crazy. So there's that. So that's it for the side. And then we're going to move on to the extra. So the extra's a little bit interesting. Half the cards that are in my extra deck now weren't in it for the event. So one card that was in it was Wind Up Zen Mains, rank 3, obvious play. You know, I need to like just defend for a bit. Another one that was real MVP for my extra deck was Totem Bird. I made him almost every game, and he actually won me some matches. Another card that was really good that came in clutch sometimes was Levier. You know, it played well against DDDs. Believe it or not, after banishing some of my opponent's cards from my Zodiac matchup, you know, I would take their monsters just to have an extra beater on board. Then we have Cowboy. I only used him once during the event, but he won me a game, so he was worth it. Then we have Wind Witch Winterbell. She's one of the main reasons of the deck. So she's a level 7. Essentially, once I get her out during the battle, I can special summon something from my hand. As long as it's level 7 or lower, she can burn my opponent for up to 800 points of damage, which is crazy. So she's really good. Then we have Black Rose. I only made Black Rose once. It was still great. You know, it helped me a lot with getting past in a flooded board when I didn't really have much. And then we have your obvious Stardust Dragon, and then Trish. The cards that I didn't have that I just recently put in, which I'm really excited to test out, which they've been testing really great so far, is Fortune Tune. One reason for Fortune Tune is I went into time quite a bit, and Fortune Tune just is a great card to go into with time. You gain 500 every standby, can't be destroyed, can't be targeted, so it's pretty good. Next, we have number 47. I just like the fact that he can attack directly. Like, it's not a lot, but it's definitely something for later in the game. Then, for obvious reason, Mechwhip Angineer. I think he's great. Again, just more defensive. And then we have Grand Pulse for spells. I like him. He's a good card. And then two of my personal favorites that I kind of just put in was Clearwing and Crystal Synchro Dragon. They are both phenomenal cards, and probably the main reason why you would play this deck is because of these two cards. I feel like just being able to make a Crystal Wing or a Clear Wing that cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effect, that can negate whatever you want, like, I think it's just insane, and they're probably the main reason why you would play the deck.
You're gonna bump up the Crystal Wing to 2?
Yeah, at some point or another. I'd have to figure out what to take out, but yeah, I'd like to.
And you remember what your matchups were like?
So my matchups, I played a lot against a lot of DDD. That was probably the easiest matchup for this deck. You know, I didn't really struggle with it. Another matchup that was fairly easy, Paleozoic. You know, I had no trouble with it. Seeing, you know, Royal Decree against that deck was great. But one of the harder matchups for this deck is Mermail. Mermail can flood really, really quick, and you know, it overpowered me. And I only had one Zodiac matchup, so I can't say for certain what it's like yet. I mean, I won the matchup, but for right now, I feel like that could go either way. So I think those are what my matchups would be right now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Any other changes you'd make going forward?
So the only other changes I would make, again, would probably just be to my extra deck and maybe my side deck. I'd probably put in a little bit more, you know, negation for my side. And then for my extra deck, like you recommended, probably bump Crystal Wing up to 2. But other than that, I'm very happy with how the main deck's been functioning. I'm very happy with how it's been working, so.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks for the deck profile.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. Tim signing out.